to the March 10th Cemetery Board of Trustees meeting. Have Roxanne take roll call.
Paul Farnham.
Here.
Virginia King. Here. Bernadette Benke. Here. Mary Ann Nazarick.
Here.
Stephen James.
Here.
Renee Bauer.
Here.
And we have 6 present and 1 absent. We have a quorum.
Okay. We need to approve the minutes of January, since we did not have a February meeting. Probably nobody has their minutes with them, but if any changes or questions about the minutes in January?
I'll say move.
Hearing none, we'll approve as presented. Horizon Bank.
Okay, I have the financial report for February. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
All right. Okay, we'll start at the top with the summary page with permanent maintenance agreement account. It was up 0.14% for the month and 0.19% year to date. The next account is the permanent maintenance Swan Lake. The account was up 0.1% for the month and 0.16% year to date. In the extension fund account, it was up 0.15% for the month and up 0.18% year to date. In the merchandise and commissions fund account, there was a payment to Matthews of $3,934.20. The account was flat, 0% for the month and flat year to date. Turning to page 2, account details. In the permanent maintenance Greenwood account, the money market is still yielding 0.02%, which is unchanged from last month's yield of 0.02%. The mutual fund's overall yield is at 0.93%, which is up from last month's yield of 0.9%. The overall yield in the account is 1.46%, which is up from last month's yield of 1.418%. On page 3, in the permanent maintenance Swan Lake account, the mutual fund's overall yield is at 0.9%, which is up from last month's yield of 0.86%. And the overall yield of the account is 1.25%, which is up from last month's yield of 1.23%. On page 4, in the extension fund, the mutual fund's overall yield was 0.92%, which is up from last month's yield of 0.88%. The overall yield in the account is at 1.36%, which is up from last month's yield of 1.34%. And last, on page 5, in the merchandise fund, the mutual fund's overall yield is at 0.95%, which is up from last month's yield of 0.91%. And the overall yield in the account is at 0.55%, which is up from last month's yield of 0.52%. Are there any questions, or shall I turn it over to Brad and fund the overall market?
No? You got a question, Rick?
Move.
Nope. Brad?
Okay, so as far as the market right now, obviously, there are terrible situations around in Ukraine. Besides that story right now, inflation continues to be, a big story in the economy overall. The newest data was released this morning, and the consumer price index is up 7.9% year over year. So the CPI is basically a measure of a basket of goods and services that we make in the U.S. And, it continues to grow at rates we haven't seen in 40 years. Everybody's seen the gas pump prices of most immediate shocks. It's going in food, beverages, housing, rent, across the board. It's just rampant inflation right now. So that's one of the biggest stories we're watching. The Fed is going to meet next week, and it's expected that they're going to hike the Fed funds interest rate about 25 basis points. There was some talk of them maybe doing half a percentage point, but with everything going on with the war now, that's kind of been pulled back a little bit. But they are expected to raise rates a little bit here, starting in March. The market's pricing in 5 rate hikes this year. That's still fluid though, as we know, things can change on a daily basis. But that's kind of the basic average expectation across the market right now. Interest rates have been rising since the beginning of the year. The 10-year Treasury, which is a gauge that we really follow to watch, the behavior of interest rates, started the year around 1.5%, and it's actually right at 2% today. So that's a pretty big move, in the first few months of the year. The rising rate environment has put downward pressure on fixed income market values. So you'll see, the Bloomberg U.S. Aggregate Bond Index is down about 3% year to date. That's a pretty widely used measure of the fixed income market. And you'll see bond mutual funds across the board are pretty much negative, no matter where you look. Even if you look at government bond funds, those are still down. We are starting to see rates and yields start to rise on fixed income securities, such as CDs and individual bonds, though. To give you an idea, the latest CD rates as of today, 1-year CD is 0.85, and that was 0.30 at the beginning of the year, so that's quite a move in a couple months. The 5-year is 2.1, so we've actually started to see 2% CDs if you go up that 5-year range, and that was 1.35 at the beginning of the year, so definitely some movement on the rate front. I looked at the accounts. We don't have any CDs maturing anytime soon, but I think next year is the most soon that we have those CDs maturing. But that at least gives us a little bit of positive, news as far as when we do have to go out and get more, CDs as those mature. So basically, the eyes will be on the Fed meeting next week. We'll watch to see if there's any language that comes out of surprises that the market's not prepared for as far as interest rate policy for the remainder of the year. But, again, we do expect interest rates to be increased at that Fed meeting and then potentially a few more times, this year. So are there any comments or questions on that? All right, well, thank you.
All right, thank you. Everybody look over our finance report from February. Any questions on that? Our personal finances, besides reading that again. Okay, do I hear a motion to accept the financial reports from Horizon and our financials?
So moved.
Do I hear a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Alrighty. Mark? All yours. Thanks.
Thank you.
Can you read the January bill since we didn't have a meeting last month?
Yes.
Okay.
Please.
January bills, AmeriGas propane, $1,716.79. Coastal Water, bottled water for the office, $14.90. NIPSCO, $1,325.20. And Matthews, $3,934.20. Permanent maintenance receipts, $655.60. That was all Swan Lake. Extension fund receipts, $2,868.25. Merchandise receipts, $3,959.76 for a total of receipts, $7,483.61. And those are the ones that from last month. This month, AmeriGas, propane, $1,638.01. Cable and True Hardware, $18.65. Holland Supply, that's a company where we get cemetery supplies from. We bought a couple of probes, earth probes. We had to get some new straps for the lowering devices, $566.45. Matthews International, $5,734.55. NIPSCO, $1,340.26. Water and sewage, $32.70. And Republic, to have our dumpster dumped, $84.08, and that's on a monthly charge. Horizon Bank, permanent maintenance receipts, all Swan Lake, $1,128.75. Extension fund receipts, $1,881.25. Merchandise receipts, $3,117.75 for a total receipts of $6,127.75. And unless you want the December bills read, those are the bills, Mr. President.
Nope, no, people. Any questions on the bills? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to pay the bills?
I'll make a motion, we pay the bills.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Sorry, paid. All right, Mark, with your superintendent report.
At the January meeting, I was asked to look up the amount of crypts, niches, and everything we had. And everybody, according to Mrs. Geralt, was emailed a copy of that. If nobody doesn't have theirs today, I've got a couple copies here. Just as explanation.
Yeah, please. Thank you. I don't have one either.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay. Greenwood Cemetery right now, we have 0 graves available, 0 crypts available. And inside the building, the chapel, we had installed about 3 years ago a new niche bank. We have 28 bronze fronts. We have 20 large glass fronts and 22 small glass fronts. Now the glass fronts are selling pretty good, but that's a display urn has to be put in there. If you just cannot use the you cannot use the box from the crematorium. It has to be a display urn, wood, ceramic, bronze, something on that order. I just sold another one of the bronze fronts yesterday, so we're now down to 27. Swan Lake, these are approximate graves at Swan Lake. Krista's Garden, 128. Peace Garden, 944. Cross and Resurrection, 1,176. Good Shepherd, approximately 60. Our newest garden that was opened up in 2003, Serenity, has 3,904. The Veterans Garden area in the front here has approximately 418 graves left. The Chapel of the Chimes, which is the older mausoleum in the back, has 2 family companion crypts left out of 700. Niches, we have 4 niches left. In the Serenity Mausoleum crypts, we have, on the inside, we have 8 singles left. And what is it? Out of 24, it's 8 out of 24 we have. Deluxe Companion Inn, we have 16 left out of 36. Outside is, we have 92 left out of 96. And niches, we have 381 left out of 432. So we have plenty of crypts, niches, and graves and everything here at Swan Lake that will probably go, at the present rate, a good 60 years, at least, without any more.
60 years.
60 years, approximately. Those would be
May I
good.
make a comment?
Sure.
Thank you very much, Mark, for doing this. You have set my mind at ease.
Oh,
I was concerned about how, how was the cemetery going to continue with funding, et cetera. But once I saw this, I realized, it gives our residents less choice if they can't get in Greenwood. But certainly, if they want to be buried in Michigan City, Swan Lake is available for the indefinite future. So I feel good about things. Thank you.
in 2001, when Greenwood was out of their second batch of graves, the board at that time decided, the board decided that they needed to add an upright section out here. That's what the Serenity Garden is. It's just like Greenwood, it's an upright section. It's very regimented as far as what you can, decorations and everything, but it is an upright section.
Sure.
No other garden is allowed to have upright monuments in it. If you were to go around the whole cemetery, you will notice that Serenity has been selling pretty good. So that's what we have left at both cemeteries. We should be okay.
And that's not even counting the possibility.
Oh, we still have another 20 plus acres.
Yeah.
Okay, but at Greenwood, what would you like to see if we were to, go ahead and take some roads out? How would you like to see that check out?
You're not going, crypts would be an expensive thing, so you're not probably going to be able to build a mausoleum. I've had plans drawn up since I took over in 1989 from a company out of Indianapolis. That's all, it was Gibraltar Corporation, and they did it. The gentleman that was working for them at the time did it for a favor for me, and we have a mausoleum plans in 3 phases that it could be done. And it would go between sections 11, 12, and 8. It would go right here between section, where this horseshoe thing is, right here, between 11, 12, and 8. He came in, they surveyed it, and there would be enough in there, we could put 3 buildings in. And I don't have the numbers, but we're looking in the neighborhood of probably 800 crypts and maybe 4,000 or 5,000 niches. Which would
Very
be,
salty price anymore.
oh, yeah, well, when they first did it, we could have done the whole thing for about 500,000. Now it's gonna be a couple million to do it.
But we wouldn't have to do that. There's enough room at Swan Lake.
There's enough room at Swan Lake, correct.
Said it doesn't give the same choices, but we wouldn't, if it isn't financially feasible for us to do it, we're still not
Oh, great.
keeping people from being buried in Michigan City that want to.
Sure. But we had been talking several meetings ago about taking out roads and putting in new crypts or whatever, grave sites, all kinds of different things. I want to know what Mark thinks he wants to put in. If we were to remove roads, what would you foresee adding?
How many graves?
Well,
Whatever, what graves and
Just those 2.
Well, I mean,
about several
that's-
different options.
because you commented about this one, right, to take out, we were talking about this one here between Sinai and that.
Well, we wouldn't need to do that to remain financially stable, right? Am I
Well,
wrong?
Greenwood will just be a total maintenance, but I mean.
Exactly.
We're just gonna be losing tons of money up there every year.
So Swan Lake wouldn't offset what we lose in Greenwood?
No. I don't think it would.
But it's, no.
Too many. I know there's a lot of people still like to be buried in Greenwood
Oh, I'm sure.
because of family.
Yeah, no, I understand. But if it isn't there, it isn't there.
But taking out some of these roads is
Well,
not.
why don't you just reference what, we took out roads,
We took out roads in 2015.
right?
We took out actually 3 roads back then. The price, of course, that's 2015. was $14,186 to take the roads out and put the black dirt back in and seed it. And then the surveyor has to come in and, mark out all the graves, which turned out, was that about
4260.
60, I know, I got it right. And then lot markers, you had $132.13 for a grand total of $18,578.13. At that time, we were selling them for $1,500 a grave.
Right there.
Yeah. So, I mean, we came up with 205 graves out of that. And, which was a grand total of, if I did my math right,
Unfortunately, we lost one whole row of graves. Between 7 and 8, there's a tree line in there we could not get all. We were gonna put 2 rows in there, and we only ended up with 1 row.
yeah, yeah.
So we lost about 25 graves in there.
Here, Paul. $288,921.87 was the profit.
Yeah, after paying bills and stuff like that. So, I mean, yes, it does help us out.
Oh,
And,
so we should still consider that, right?
correct.
Right,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I highly recommend it, actually, anymore. Just to kind of keep cash flow up there and try to keep everybody happy. Because you don't sit home.
Where would we draw the funds from?
Out of the exception fund. That's what we've always done. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Capital improvements, that would be a capital improvement, that would come out of the extension fund.
So, I mean, guarantee it, I mean, it's gonna be a lot more on the excavating nowadays, just because of, but we're not taking out 3 roads. We're gonna be taking out 2 roads. And, I'd like to see us get some pricing on it, just to, so we can sit down and talk about it, so we know what we're kind of talking about, and, removing of roads, at least.
Is that something that we would have to notify the gravesite owners about if we,
No.
No? Because of course we get complaints, I'm sure, about access and all that.
Well, one of the section, one up front, hardly anybody goes, where the heck is that? There's a bill. You got that cap. You got that cap? You got that?
Were you looking for?
Right now. I'm there right now. Yeah, I got these two. Yeah.
This one?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The section would be between, no, this one, right?
Do I have to reread, I don't know, it has my name on it, do you want the colored section?
No, I had marked it out. It's between F and E, and the other one is between Sinai and Section U, which is V and U. There's a road we were talking about taking out in there.
So back to my question then, how many graves would we be picking up by doing this, you know?
Well, between E and F, remember I told you last time that we had, it's a little narrower than the one we took out years ago, between H and G, so instead of getting 2 rows, we're only gonna get 1 row of graves in there. So half of 128. And where else did you say?
64.
That one there?
Meet that one.
V, U and V, 2 rows there, about 80 graves there, so you're looking at
144.
About 144 graves.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 2,000, just for the heck of it, because that's more than what we're gonna get. So, about $250,000.
Minus cost, minus, so.
So to answer your question, the cemetery bylaws state that they can do any remodeling, renovation, removal without anybody's approval other than the board.
Okay, thank you.
So should we have Mark investigate, see if he can get some ballpark ideas from anybody, or?
Yeah, we'll go on with that.
I think sooner rather than later,
Yeah, okay.
things aren't gonna get any cheaper.
I've lost one. There it is. There's my map. That's easy. Not too many figures in there. Okay. If you could, Mark, see if you can find out anything. Maybe call, I don't see him. What, I know they've been busy, try Pavey. Because Pavey did the stuff out here before for us on the field tile, remember?
No, the one I remember is D&M.
No, Pavey did the veteran.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, at least we can maybe get some ballpark ideas from, I mean, and then we can, you know, come back to, if we got ballpark ideas, then we can put it to bid like we normally do, out to bid. But again, to make sure it gets put back in with good, better black dirt, not the number one, but number two, without any clay base in it, and then have it hydro-seeded. By doing the hydro-seeded, it's guaranteed to take. If it doesn't take, they come back and respray it. So, versus
How long did it take last time, do you remember?
to take the roads out,
Yeah.
not very long.
6 weeks.
Oh, no.
Well, we took out 3 different ones. They got to work around funerals too. Yeah, so we got
I
to,
have no idea.
yeah.
And of course, then if we decide to go ahead, we would be looking to sell for a higher price than we did last time, I'm
Oh,
guessing.
yeah, yeah.
So-
Well, yeah, because prices have gone up, so, because I guarantee it's gonna be a lot more to
Oh, sure.
take these roads out this time. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, do you want to get a vote on that then?
Yeah, make a motion to have Mark come up with some ballpark ideas, or ballpark figures to remove, road between section B and U and F and E. Do I hear,
I'll second it.
all in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay. Any opposed? Okay.
Can I vote?
No.
Well, you can stomp your foot, stomp your foot.
Yeah.
You're a vote anyway.
Okay, since we got that all done. Anything else before I start?
Go ahead.
All right, we're starting the spring here. Our spring cleanup ad is running in the News Dispatch, Herald Argus, wherever it is. Wednesday, March 9th, and Friday, March 11th. Our spring cleanup will start on Tuesday, March 15th, and we'll conclude on Friday, March 25th. You can redecorate starting on Saturday, March 26th. All, I emphasize all decorations from all graves, niches, and crypts will be removed and discarded. Decoration guides are strictly enforced at both Greenwood Cemetery and Swan Lake Memorial Gardens. We also included the fall cleanup dates in the paper, and as we get closer into the fall, I will bring up the dates again on that. So everybody, and actually, the St. Stan Cemetery has been running their ads since the 1st of February. So they have, people have been coming into Greenwood regularly and picking up, so, excuse me, the amount of decorations we have left are minimal. It's been, I don't know, the economy or whatever, but there's not been as many decorations, so it shouldn't take, 2 weeks to be done. I had been interviewed a secretary, part-time secretary, to take the place of a retired individual from 2 years ago before COVID hit. I have been the secretary for the last 2 years, and we don't do it. So I interviewed a young lady, and once she finished taking her drug test and filling out her paperwork at City Hall, if everything goes okay, she will start end of March for training, approximately a week at Swan Lake, maybe 2 or 3 days up at Greenwood, since there's not that much up at Greenwood to learn. So she will be the one that will be here, and she'll be able to do vacations, personal days, sick time, anything like that, so. I also hired a full-time employee. I'd run an ad through the city. He started approximately 3 weeks ago. He was one of them that had left last summer. He left on good terms. He didn't just walk off the job. He gave me 2 weeks' notice. He worked at another city department. He was not satisfied, or something happened, I'm not sure. He found out that we were hiring again, and I was willing to bring him back. So he's been with us now for a couple of weeks, plus he knows the job, so it saves us a little time and a little effort. All 3 of our seasonal from last year have all put their applications in already, and weather permitting, we will be starting our seasonal end of this month. Okay, and I want to try and get another one, at least another one. I talked to a representative of the American Legion, Post 37 and Highway 20. I asked about the Memorial Day services this year. He got back with me a few days later, and he told me that at the present time, the clubs have decided that the services for this year's Memorial Day will be brought back, barring anything happening at spiking or that other stuff. Once they find out more details, we will be given the time and dates and everything. The reason I started early, it goes back to the seasonal. That way I know how to schedule work for the seasonal and overtime as needed. Okay. As we are open to the public at both offices, and as everybody can see around the table, we're still requiring masks when you come into the office. We have not started Saturday funerals yet, because apparently on the 18th of December, we had a Saturday funeral that was 11 o'clock funeral that didn't get in here until almost 4 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. And they were actually, the gentlemen were out here, and everybody knows about this because I think you talked about it in the January meeting. And they didn't get out of here that day until almost 4:45. So one of the things that's going to have to be done is we're going to have to, as a board, you're going to have to decide what's going to be done on Saturdays. What kind of new ruling, what kind of new wage costs? Because some of these, you can't, if you do it, it's going to have to be done for every funeral in Michigan City, LaPorte, Chesterton, and so on. You have 11 o'clock funeral, do we stop allowing them to come in at 1 o'clock? You know, just because right now, I'll give you an idea, our wages last year with the mayor,
Wages have gone up.
well, the lead man went up almost 20%, driver laborers went almost 18%, grass cutters went up 14%, everybody's gone drastically. Office personnel went up drastically, not the superintendent, he's been going drastically, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. So there's got, on an average Saturday, to give you an idea, it's $30 overtime on a Saturday per hour. Average funeral is going to be almost 6 hours already. So you're looking at $180, looking at $360 for 2 people on a Saturday, and all the other expenses with it. So, plus there should be a time limit. Something's got to be done. So I just want to bring that up.
What time do you want people out of here?
I don't know, that's what I'm asking. I don't
How about
let me
We
know.
have to probably,
There's always going to be a problem. There's always going to be one exception. So if there is an exception, if they're beyond that cutoff point, then they need to have a surcharge. for that. That's my feeling. Okay, so if they have you sitting here waiting for 2 hours or 3 hours, then it's gonna be an extra cost.
Is there a surcharge for a Saturday burial?
Well, there's a difference on a Saturday than there is during the week, yes.
That's already established.
We might want to increase that too.
Because I think it needs to be offered, because some people can't.
Well, we have not had, when we opened up last year to Saturday's funerals, we did not have a mad dash for them, but the ones we did have were averaging 7.5 hours for the funeral, so, you know, it's increased right there. This is one of those areas that I just don't know what we can do other than what the surcharge is. That sounds like a good idea, or maybe,
Then we're gonna have to get something in writing.
well, that's it, it's gonna have to be written down, maybe have, you know, something legalized.
Well, we'll need to draft it as a resolution, and pass it, yeah. And then everyone who, you know, signs up for a Saturday needs to have
You
a
got,
document.
you got a copy of, what our rules were before, for Saturdays, at all, anything written down? Okay.
What is, have the Saturday funerals taken longer than during the week, or?
Well, they do usually take longer because it's Saturday and you don't have anywhere to go.
Yeah.
So they kind of linger.
Okay, so that,
They take longer to church or service or
Right.
whatever, before they even get out here.
I think the idea of a surcharge makes sense then. I mean, something reasonable.
But we're gonna have to put that in writing, so we can present it to all the funeral homes.
So what is an average weekly funeral? I mean, do you have any idea? Is it 4 hours, 5 hours? I don't know.
If the funeral's called in for 11 o'clock, church service,
Sure.
they'll be here by 12:15. Saturdays, if it's 11 o'clock service, they'll be in here 12:30, 1 o'clock,
Well, I mean, no, I just want to know during the week, what?
hour and a half,
And that's it?
yeah.
Out here, I mean, with their own, they're out here by, only out an hour and a half, right?
I mean, and I know that that's a generalization, but I mean, on average, so that's what, 3 hours max during the week?
Yeah, but see, the guys are already out here. We're already paying them to be out here. It's the Saturdays, we are paying time and a half.
I know,
And that's the killer, you
But if
know.
they're paying extra for Saturday, we should be covering the overtime, but we should be covering the overtime for 3 hours and then add a surcharge in addition if it's more than 3.
Right. But that's why we need to get it in writing.
No, I
And get it to
agree,
Aldi.
totally.
You're not talking surcharge for during the week.
No,
just on Saturday.
No, just
I
Saturday.
mean, you
Just
don't want
Saturday.
to penalize them more than they already are for having it on
Yeah,
Saturday.
but we're running a
Charge more,
business,
right?
so, you know, we're running a business, and if
Right.
Yeah.
our employment costs go up, just like every other business, we have to increase what we, that's right. Hey, I would suggest this, along with the surcharge for the extended time, we probably ought to increase Saturday rate.
Yeah, we need
So
that.
you got 2 increases you're talking about.
Yeah.
So, and that would be based on what our costs are. We have to look at what our costs are, and then we get a markup off of that. You know, that's the way we work it.
Makes sense.
Yeah, we never did vote on committees this year.
No.
No. So we'll need
That
to,
was at the February meeting and we didn't have February meeting.
yeah.
Yeah, I can work something up and present it next month.
I think the surcharge will have to be enough that people will observe the time limit.
Totally.
So in other words, you're looking at a deterrent.
Yeah, an encouragement. Would we have a problem collecting the surcharge? Do they prepay everything, or are there always charges that are added after?
No, they have to bring a check with them.
Okay, so,
So that if they come in and they're late and there's a surcharge, I don't know if we'll be, you know, only thing you can do then is say, you don't pay the surcharge, we stop doing funerals for your establishment. And I don't know if that's legal or not.
yeah,
Well, then they'll have to start funerals earlier.
Some are religious, some can't, some won't. It's, Uncle John might be at the barber shop, can't make it to the funeral till 11. mean, there's so many variables. I've been here so long, it's just, there's so many variables about that. At one time, when I first came here, we did welfares and townships. Everything was on Saturday. And welfare and township, basically back then, they were $50, free. So, and then when I took over, that was one of the first things I did, is we took all the burials from Greenwood that were townships and welfare, because they were still putting them at Swan Lake or Greenwood. I moved them all out here because we didn't have prime land to give anymore at Greenwood. And we stopped Saturdays. If we're getting X amount of dollars from the government, and you're not even covering the cost of the funeral or the opening and closing, well, we're not letting you come in on a Saturday. And plus it was our choice, and I presented it to the board, it was our choice that the cemetery chose the grave. I mean, you don't come out here and say, oh, I'd like to be over in Serenity, or oh, I'd like to be over here. No, it's graves that are not bad, they're just not sellable. Maybe we have mom and dad here, and then later on somebody bought grave 4, so you got grave 3 left. So we would use, a grave that's going to be hard to sell, or something that's maybe a little close to the road. Not in the road or under it, but close. We're the ones that have chosen the graves, okay? I will work something up and give it to you next month.
Speaking of price increase, I know bronze has gone up, because I know what it was in my industry. So,
And on average, it's gone up anywhere from 2.5 to 4% here. This year it went up 9.5% this year.
yeah, so we need to make sure we're covered.
I already checked that we're already covered on everything here. Some of it we're gonna have to redo, but most of it's been covered. And we ordered granite, and hopefully that'll get here this year.
Foundations, we're gonna be fine too.
Yeah, that's all part of, that's all included, I think.
Okay.
That's pretty much everything we've done. We have been busy with, of course, the weather like everybody else, but abnormally slow at Greenwood. Last month in February, we had 3 funerals and 1 cremation. So far this year at Greenwood, we've had 1 funeral. So, not getting back to the road saying it's going to be, don't think it's going to be a lifesaver forever.
Yeah, we know that.
It's this option that somebody's going to maybe want to buy.
It's a stock, yeah.
So, and the other personal note, since we didn't have one last month, Mrs. DeRolf, your recorder back here, on February 14th, had 39 years here at the cemetery.
Wow.
And me personally, I will be here 38 years, March 26th, and 34 of them as superintendent. With that being said, I'm done. Did you bow? Did you get up and bow?
I left the room when you said it.
She's 14 shades red, but that's okay.
Mark, I just have a question about clearing the graves. You said you remove everything. Does that mean those little, round things, but that says you're a veteran?
Oh, no.
Or the candle, the red candle? Okay, those
If
things.
it's-
Decoration.
It's just decoration.
Yeah, if it's a legal,
Ornament out
I'm
there.
trying to think of what those are now, Vigilite.
Yeah.
If it's a legal Vigilite, it stays.
Okay.
One year I had a gentleman that, he picked up every stupid flag holder from the Veterans Club. He had a whole truckload, and I went, what'd you do? And he picked them all, so they were up there, people got them back, a lot of them. But no, we don't pick those up
Okay.
either. It's those lights you buy at Menards, those solar lights, those kind of things aren't allowed. Those flowers that have the dancing thing on top in the sun, that's not allowed. Balloons are not allowed. Anything glass is not allowed, and that's all picked up. Plastic and all that. For this time of year, and like I said, there's not that much left right now, but we will get it all picked up, cleaned up in 2 weeks, and then they can start all over again till fall. My best time of the year is, I know people are gonna get upset about this, I love when it's cleaned up. The cemetery just looks so pristine and so good looking without all the stuff. I almost said junk. Stuff.
Did you ever get any prices on trees being removed?
I called 2 and I haven't got anybody responding yet. It's just been bad.
Because we got, what, about 3 of them come out, 3 or 4?
Greenwood?
Yeah.
Right now, I found 2 more I'm gonna take out, so we got 7. And we,
Go ahead, I'm sorry to interrupt.
and 3 out here. I'm sorry, I'm done.
Wasn't there some railroad ties or something that we needed to take out?
Well, around the mausoleum,
Uh-huh, yeah, and what are we
Those are-
doing with that?
we try to put it on hold because nothing, they are getting very shabby looking.
The ones on the north side are just about gone, top level.
Yeah.
That was
Actually,
Jerry
about
Janowski who did
2 or
those.
3 levels of it.
Can we do that ourselves?
No,
No?
I don't think so.
Well, then maybe we should take them out and replace them with something that is lower maintenance?
Well, those boards have been in there since
It was built.
1985, first part of 1985. They started building the mausoleum in 84, it was finished. Towards the end of 84, 85, they did all the landscaping then in the spring of 85.
So there's big letterhood line.
Yeah.
So,
And unfortunately, what a 6x6 now costs is unbelievable.
what can we do besides replacing those at a
Stone.
lower cost?
Stone.
The stone, that's what I thought, that's what I
Stone
thought.
retaining wall.
Okay, well then, why don't we look into the cost of that,
Okay.
instead of letting that area fester? Some of these things only get worse, they don't get better, so you might as well just bite the bullet and do what we gotta do.
And then they'll be good for a long time.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, some of that, and I don't want to be like everybody else, but the COVID hit and it just kind of
Sure.
slowed everything and talking to people, well, you know, I'll come out maybe. And it never really materialized, and then things just got
So you said we got 5 trees at Greenwood to be taken out?
7.
7 at Greenwood and 3 out here.
And one of them that we got to take down is in section 7. It's a big pine tree that a family put in, and every time we have a storm, several of the big limbs in that pine tree come out of there.
Jeez.
But it was put in on a family, and it's in baby land. It was, somebody planted it when it was probably that big in baby land, and now it's a monster.
Okay.
And it's old and it's falling apart.
Another thing, do the guys have enough or updated tools? Are they needing any new tools, hand tools?
All they gotta do is ask if they need anything.
You know, I'd like to see a list from the guys, actually. Have them give us a list of what they think they need now in hand tools and then in anything in power tools versus, or when I'm saying power tools, you know, pole chainsaw, backpack blowers or whatever, anything that would help with their jobs, make it somewhat easier. So, I'll make out an inventory sheet for you, so you can pass it out to the guys and see what they would like. Make an inventory of their tools, shovels, whatever they got, if anything needs to be repaired or replaced. And then the next item over would be for power tools, anything interesting.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion. Power tools, hand tools, but also, is there any big item that you need to replace? You know, a more expensive item? Are we set with all of the things? Okay. So our mowers are fine, everything else,
As far as I know, we seem to be okay.
okay.
With a leaf vac?
Because the
I know we used to have
cost is getting
the
so-
leaf vac.
We have almost a brand new leaf vac by Giant Vac, almost brand new.
I mean, I'm talking the suction when it blew it into.
That's what I'm talking
Okay,
about.
I just want to make sure I'm paying the same page.
It was huge, it was almost brand new, and we took it down, and because everything during the one administration had to go through maintenance down at Central Services. And they totally screwed it up. I mean, it hasn't been running right since. So if you're looking at buying one of those right now, you're looking in the neighborhood of about $26,000.
Well, I was looking at possibly if the city does what they've done in the past, maybe let them pick one up for us instead of a truck or something like that. Or, I'm just saying, there's something along that line if possible.
It's got a huge V-twin Wisconsin motor on it. And they are supposed to run at about 18,000 RPMs. And they put a different carburetor on it. And now we can't get the parts for it or anything, because now it's to the point where it's beautiful, brand new, sitting in the garage. But we took it down to the central maintenance, and not the men that are down there now, but several employees ago, totally screwed up the equipment that was down there. Our equipment. That's why we've been going with like DeVries and doing stuff like doing, and a lot of the departments have been, so. Plus it takes too long, plus it's,
Well, yeah. What year was that piece of equipment?
like that.
Yeah.
I'd have to look it up.
Okay. I didn't know if you knew right offhand.
So is it something you would like to have in running order? Did you find it useful?
The lead man up there would like to see one back, but the last several years, what we've been doing is just mulching all the leaves. You have to understand, since I came here in 1982, we've lost close to 125 trees out of Greenwood. We still have close to 400 plus trees up there. So we've done less amount of leaves in the fall, but because now we're mulching them all.
So you don't care if it doesn't get repaired properly?
No, I'd like to see it repaired or a new one. But
Well, it'd make it easier, the guys can blow it, instead of mulching it all,
Yeah.
they can blow it to the roadside, come down with the truck and pick it up. And, or blow it out like Sinai does, out to the road, let the city pick it up.
I guess what I'm thinking we should know, Mark, is we should have a wish list from you so we know what things you might want. Not that you're gonna get them, understand, you know. But but then we can plan ahead, you know, if you're gonna want something, you know, we can get maybe a deal on something that way.
And I know equipment gets beat harder out here because of the clay soil versus out there. So. Okay. Anything else? Anybody got remark? All right. Next meeting would be April 14th, am I correct, Roxanne?
April 14th?
Yeah. I think that's what it's gonna be.
I won't be here.
Okay. Then we might have to postpone it another
I
night.
might not be here that day either.
I know your reason. So, anyway, we'll get back to you on the next meeting. Any other questions? Hearing none, meeting is adjourned.